Today, I became the laughingstock of the entire company. Of course, I have to thank my model boyfriend Parker, with whom I've been in a long-distance relationship for 7 years. His mistress Olivia stormed into the company and berated me mercilessly. "Lily, how long are you going to cling to Parker? He doesn't love you anymore." I'm here today to tell you that I'm pregnant and Parker and I are getting married soon. The impact was too great. I couldn't react in time to anything. The only words that could be considered a retort were those spoken by my boss. Just as she was pointing at my nose, scolding me for being a secretary and asking if I had already been involved with my boss, who was leaning against the doorframe watching the show, took a long step forward and smiled as he wrapped his arm around my shoulder. I have indeed waited for her for many years. Thank you, my boss. Now in the entire company, there are those who watch me as a joke and those who gossip about me. Thunder roared outside the window. In the past, during weather like this, Parker would always have me wait at the office for him to pick me up. But now he just sends a message asking where I am. I go back and forth between home and the company every day. Where else can I go? It's clear that things are unbalanced on both sides, and I'm currently trying to appease the mistress on one end. When a person encounters a significant blow, the brain's reaction is not that quick. I dragged my malfunctioning brain and organized all the work at hand before leaving the office. As soon as I stepped out of the company door, the heavy rain poured down. How wonderful! Even the heavens are cooperating with the performance. I stood under the eaves waiting for the rain to lessen, my mind still a blank. Until the familiar black Mercedes stopped at the company entrance, the rear window rolled down, revealing my boss Jess's face. "Lily, get in." I habitually open the passenger door, but Jess opened the back seat door. "Sit in the back." I sat in the back seat with a face clouded with gloom. "Thank you for today, Mr. Jess. Are you talking about this afternoon's matter or the thing about taking you home?" I had a stroke of bad luck, while Jess, who watched the whole lively event and made a guest appearance, seemed to be in great spirits. "Thank you all," I replied perfunctorily. Under normal circumstances, I would never be dismissive towards my superior. This is a matter of self-cultivation for an assistant. However, today I simply cannot muster that self-cultivation. The vehicle drove smoothly. I sat there pale and motionless. Jess glanced at me every 10 seconds on average. Just as we reached the next intersection to my house, he suddenly spoke up. "Do you still need me later?" Well, if you go home later and that girl is also there, wouldn't you be at a disadvantage facing two people? Thank you for your concern, but it's not necessary." "Really, don't need it," he asked me with a beaming smile. "Mr. Jess, I've been cheated on and I'm very sad. I know I'm your assistant and that I'm required to be on call 24 hours a day, but I'm really very upset. I beg you, could you please not look at me as a joke anymore?" I was about to cry, holding back my tears so they wouldn't fall. Just got cheated on by my boyfriend of 7 years, became the laughingstock of the entire company, and now I have to endure my boss's teasing. Hey, don't really cry. Jess stuffed a big handful of tissues into my arms. Breaking up is a good thing. Cheer up. My boss is in a really good mood. He probably really enjoys watching people have bad luck. Smile and good things will happen. His iceberg face leaned in close to me, presenting a standard smile. Jess had a face that would make any woman smile, but at this moment I really couldn't bring myself to laugh. To appease my boss, I forced out a smile that looked worse than crying. I got off the car under his watchful gaze and returned home. It was pitch black. Parker was indeed at the mistress's place. The mistress is already pregnant and causing a scene at my company, yet I don't even know her name. Before today, I had always believed that my love with Parker was unbreakable. We walked from campus to society, our love lasting 7 years, a match made in heaven in the eyes of others. We even worked hard together to buy a house, and our wedding is set for this year. The emotions that had accumulated throughout the day finally collapsed. I slowly crouched down at the entrance, tears spilling through my fingers. This morning, Parker was still here to give me a good morning kiss. How did everything change so drastically in just one day? I sat on the living room sofa, waiting for Parker. As time passed second by second before he told me everything in his own words, I still held on to a glimmer of hope, wishing it was just the girl's one-sided affection. He returned home in the dead of night, and when I saw the look of sorrow on his face, I knew that everything was beyond redemption. "I'm sorry." He crouched in front of me, trembling as he held my hand, his tears falling faster than mine. "Why?" I asked. "Parker told me everything once. Olivia is an intern at their company, in his group, calling him teacher at first. It was just an ordinary superior-subordinate relationship. The freshly graduated girl was inevitably a bit spoiled, turning to her teacher whenever she encountered any difficulties. He helped her solve work-related problems, and she brought him homemade snacks as a thank you. On rainy days, he would take the long way to pick her up. During business trips, she would lean on his shoulder and fall asleep on the high-speed train. Parker no longer remembers which time he truly crossed that line. By the time he wanted to turn back, he had already derailed long ago. I'm sorry, Lily. I'm really sorry. I didn't want it to be this way either. The collapse of feelings does not happen overnight. In corners I had not noticed, my love with Parker had long been eaten away by pests and nibbled by mice, leaving only a fragile shell that could barely withstand a blow. In the end, I had long since run out of tears, while Parker knelt on the ground crying uncontrollably as if it were I who had cheated. Don't cry, I shook off his hand that was holding me. I agreed to break up, wishing them 100 years of happiness together. I didn't want to hear their love story for another moment. But Parker grabbed my hand again. Lily, now there is one more thing I need to trouble you with. Olivia, she is currently living in Jinggu Jingguan. What did you say? The Golden Capital Scenic Garden is the wedding house that Parker and I bought with half of our money each, and my name is also on the property deed. Every brick and tile of that house was chosen by him and me together. But now he tells me that he is keeping his mistress there. Don't rush, don't rush. She can't stay over there anymore. Parker's eyes flickered. What's wrong? Is the house not big enough? Can it accommodate this great butt of hers? No, it's not that. It's that Olivia is pregnant now, and she's afraid the new house has a strong formaldehyde smell. When a person gets angry to a certain extent, they really will laugh. So what? So we thought about renting a new place, but it wouldn't be that quick. We just thought to let Olivia stay here for now. Don't worry, I will find a house soon, and then you can move back in. It won't be long. I understood now. He was telling me to move out so the mistress could come in and take care of the pregnancy. I didn't scold him anymore, just calmly looked at Parker for a while. I suddenly realized that his features were blurred, as if I had never truly known him in these 7 years. I was almost forcing myself to suppress my nausea as I packed my luggage. Parker had a look of guilt on his face, repeatedly saying, I'm sorry, while insisting that it wasn't that urgent. But I didn't want to stay for a moment. The man in front of me made me feel sick. I randomly grabbed a few pieces of clean clothes and tossed them into the suitcase. Parker came to pull my hand again. Before I had a chance to shake him off, his phone rang. I looked at him coldly as the ringtone echoed through the room. At this moment, I think we all know in our hearts who the caller is. Finally, he let go of my hand and turned his back to answer the phone. Unfortunately, the voice on the other end was loud enough for me to hear clearly. Parker, where have you been? Did you go to find that? I woke up and you were gone. My chest feels so heavy and uncomfortable now. Boo-hoo. I slammed the door shut with a bang, shutting out all the dirty business inside, and dragged my suitcase all the way down the stairs. One of the suitcase wheels rolled away, and I looked down to realize I was still wearing my house slippers. It was pouring rain outside, and I even forgot to bring an umbrella. How wonderful! Double the misfortune. To the extreme of despair, my emotions instead became exceptionally stable. In my current mental state, even the devil would have to hesitate 3 times before me. Unlucky me decided to treat myself a little better. I booked a suite at the 5-star hotel next to the company. Looking back on the 7 years with Parker, in order to buy a house and save money, we traveled and stayed in budget hotels. At that time, I was huddled with him in a windowless budget room, happily thinking that love could quench our thirst. Now it just feels ridiculous. I stood barefoot in front of the hotel's large floor-to-ceiling window, my whole body damp. Outside, the entire city was illuminated by the flickering neon lights of the night. My tears no longer flowed for him, they only flowed for myself. Over these 7 years, the sorrow of last night's spring and autumn brought a headache this morning. Getting caught in the rain without changing clothes in time, the cold arrived as expected. Mr. Jess, I have a fever. Can I take a day off? I'll send today's schedule to Manager Lou. Okay. I called the boss. My voice was a bit hoarse because I had lost my voice. What's wrong? Moved house all night last night and got caught in the rain so soon. Jess's voice was somewhat unexpected. Where are you now? The hotel next to the company. The boss readily approved my leave, and I lazily pulled up the blanket and continued to sleep. 20 minutes later, my door was knocked on. Jess, dressed in a tailored suit, appeared at the doorway, holding a paper bag from the pharmacy. I stared blankly with a swollen face and dark circles under my eyes. Jess seems to be in a good mood today. I've ordered breakfast for you. First, take your medicine, then eat, and then sleep. I watched him unfasten his cufflinks, roll up his sleeves, revealing a smoothly contoured forearm. Then he took out the ear thermometer from the paper bag. His long fingers pinched my earlobe, and with a beep, my heart skipped a beat. Mr. Jess, you have 2 meetings today. I reminded him with a voice like a duck's quack. Postponed until tomorrow. His voice was close, his breath brushing against my ear. I felt my body tense up involuntarily. Jess straightened up and looked at the number displayed on the thermometer, frowning slightly. 37.8, a low fever. Why is your face so red, boss? I might be tired. I started to babble. Okay, remember to take your medicine after you have breakfast. It's the yellow box, take it twice a day. The other bottle is for fever. If it doesn't reach 38.5, you don't need to take it. If it does, take 20 milliliters. Lily, I've extended this room for half a month, and every day there's a full meal. I felt the warmth from the capitalists for the first time. My eyes were warm, and my heart felt warm. Mr. Jess, thank you so much. I really need some time to find a place to stay these days. This site costs half a month's salary for me. With such a generous boss, I would be willing to work for him for a lifetime. I immediately began to pledge my loyalty. Rest assured, I won't neglect my work. I can return to my normal duties tomorrow. Jess waved her hand and smiled at me, saying there's no rush for work. You said you want to find a place, right? Jess asked me to help her look at houses. I know rich people have a lot of houses, but it's a bit annoying that they have so many they can't even live in all of them. My boss said that having the house empty affects the feng shui, so he asked me to move in and take care of the house. This sounded strange, but when I thought about how superstitious rich people are, plus the fact that I could stay in the boss's house for free, I quickly packed my suitcase and went as soon as my cold was better. The moment driver La Wang dropped me off at the half-mountain villa, I finally understood why Jess had given me a whole bunch of keys. This is the damn golden house that hides the beauty. I really want to call Parker over to take a look. There are 3 floors plus a basement, with a yard of over 300 square meters, and the roses are in full bloom now. The standalone villa is as beautiful as a castle. I stood at the entrance with the wheeled suitcase that had lost a wheel, just like Cinderella standing outside the palace. Even the houses of the wealthy, though uninhabited, remain spotless. I walked barefoot on the herringbone wooden floor, feeling neither cold nor hot, but quite comfortable. Cleaning will be done twice a week, and someone will come to your door regularly. Manager Lou sent a message. Manager Lou, which room am I staying in? I replied, any room will do. What am I supposed to do? Live in it and take care of the house? There really are pies falling from the sky in this world. In love, I have failed. In career, I have succeeded. The ancients do not deceive me. The boss asked me to help him look at some properties today, and there's a possibility of a promotion and raise for me tomorrow. I lay on the floor in a big character. The sunlight slanted onto my face, warm and cozy. The gloom of these past few days seems to have been swept away. The world is carefree, time flows peacefully, and the tranquility of the years came to an end with the sound of a WeChat notification. It was Olivia who added me. Sister, I was impulsive last time. Can we talk? I have something to tell you. Once again, calling me sister and completely changing from the previous attitude of pointing at my nose and scolding me in the office. Although I knew it probably wouldn't lead to anything good, I still submitted the application. Curiosity killed the cat. I want to know what matters to her now that are worth going to such lengths to tell me. As soon as the request was made, 3 photos appeared in quick succession. Parker was seen from behind organizing something. 4 or 5 large cardboard boxes were stacked together. It is the wardrobe in the room where Parker and I used to live. Sister, I've had Parker pack all your things for you. When are you coming to pick them up? I'm sorry, but the wardrobe at home is too small. If I put in my new clothes, there won't be any space left for your old ones. Oh, so it's to show off. Upon closer inspection, the wardrobe in the photo is indeed filled to the brim with clothes that are not mine. Olivia is right. The wardrobe at home is too small. I looked at the walk-in closet of Jess's villa, which was even larger than the living room of my previous home, and fell into deep thought. Being rich is really great. If this villa were mine, I think I would be the happiest little girl in the world. I still hadn't figured out how to respond to her bragging when a familiar number popped up. Hello, Lily. Did Olivia just add you on WeChat? Don't take it to heart. She's young and doesn't understand. She insisted on adding you on WeChat, and I couldn't do anything about it. The voice on the other end of the phone was low, accompanied by the sound of running water. It seemed they were hiding in the bathroom to call me. I suddenly found it very funny. When Parker was with me, he must have been secretly calling Olivia like this too. I scoffed. Well, add me. Say you packed my things and let me go pick them up. Don't be angry. Lily, I am not angry. You don't need to come and get it. I'll bring it to you when I have time. Let's leave it at that for now. I'm hanging up, so wait for my news. The person on the other end hurriedly hung up. Perhaps if they had said one more word, the young girlfriend would have started to suspect something. Character transformation. Now I have actually become the person Parker secretly makes phone calls to. I couldn't help but laugh. Look, he is just that kind of person, indecisive and wishy-washy, nice to everyone and unable to let go of anything. What I once admired about Parker's gentleness now feels like a shared gentleness, nauseating. It is said that a sudden end to a romance can lead to withdrawal symptoms. I believe this does not apply to office workers. My boss has been in a great mood lately, full of energy, and as his little assistant, I've been clearly assigned tasks. I have no intention of thinking about that pair of terrible people. Forget it. As long as the overtime pay is sufficient, it doesn't matter if I work like a horse. I sat in the passenger seat this time. Jess actually wanted to drive herself for the business trip to the neighboring city for the bidding. Usually, I sit next to old Wong, dozing off in the car during business trips, since the boss is in the back seat anyway. Today, sitting next to the boss, I felt too embarrassed to sleep. My eyes were wide open like copper bells, my back stiff as if I were being punished to sit still. Jess drives without even listening to music, and the car is filled with an awkward atmosphere, but he didn't seem to feel it, with a face full of joy, not even knowing what he was happy about. Hey, you speak. The boss was the first to break the deadlock. You say. I immediately responded. I think that the person who is not loved is the third party. This statement is not entirely without reason. I mentally added 3 exclamation marks. My boss actually has such a twisted worldview. Lily, what would you do if the person you like is already in a relationship, but they are not married? The boss cues me, and I naturally have to respond. I will bless them. Otherwise, I'll wait until he's single to talk. I don't like to compete with others, especially in matters of the heart. What if he never stays single? Then forget it. Jess glanced at me and suddenly laughed. I almost couldn't wait any longer. If I keep waiting, she'll be getting married. I was just thinking, if I were to pursue her, could I end up becoming the male third party? Damn it, what a huge scandal. If this gets out, my boss will be the third party in love. I tried to rein in my eager curiosity for gossip and casually asked, and then? Then Jess smiled brightly. Not anymore. Now it can be justified. It seems that Jess's romantic journey is smooth sailing. No wonder she has been smiling so much these days. The boss is in a good mood and the workers are having a smooth time. The dinner during the business trip is surprisingly arranged at a Michelin 3-star restaurant. I increasingly feel that Jess is going to promote me. The candlelight flickered. Jess's eyes sparkled with a smile filled with deep emotion. My boss has such an alluring face. How can a proper man have eyelashes thicker than a woman's? I dared not look too much, my gaze evasive and sneaky. After the dishes were served, I naturally became more lively, ate quickly and voraciously. After finishing, I let out a satisfied burp and returned to the hotel with Jess. On the way, I caught a glimpse of his face, which seemed to look rather unpleasant. Could it be that he was upset with me for eating too much, losing his face? Alas, the heart of the saint is hard to fathom. Fortunately, the service at the 5-star hotel was truly on point. They prepared the turn-down service and even sprinkled flower petals by the bathtub. Just as I finished my bath, my whole body felt like it was going to melt. The boss sent a message, "Double-check tomorrow's bid one more time and come to my room." The unfortunate working class life is meant for labor. I took off my soft and comfortable bathrobe and put on my professional suit again, holding my notebook. I knocked on the boss's door. Jess was wearing a loose bathrobe, drying her hair, and opened the door for me. I obediently sat on the sofa, opened my notebook, and began to recount the contents of the bid to my boss. Jess listened with a distracted mind. I watched him finish drying his hair, then go change into slippers. After changing into slippers, he ran off to pour red wine. It was just me reciting the bid document to the air. I finally couldn't hold it in any longer. "Mr. Jess, if you won't listen, I'm going back to sleep." Jess handed over a glass of wine. "Care for a drink?" Before I had a chance to refuse, the phone rang. I looked at the caller ID, showing Parker's name. Jess looked at me. I awkwardly said, "I'll take a call, Mr. Jess." I deliberately walked a few steps away and turned my back to answer. Unfortunately, the volume on the other end was shockingly loud. "Lily, what do you mean? What does the diary in the nightstand mean?" I realized that what she was referring to was the love diary Parker wrote for me. Most of it was written by him. I mainly reviewed it. "Olivia, why don't you take a look at who wrote the diary and ask the person involved?" Reason tells me that I am still in the boss's office at this moment. I must suppress my emotions as much as possible and behave with dignity and propriety. On the other end of the phone, the cries continued relentlessly. "You just don't want us to have a good life. The ghost won't leave. He doesn't want you. You worthless woman." There was Parker's hesitant voice. All right, Olivia. Stop talking. Just stop." "What do you mean? Are you still thinking about her? Do you believe my phone was snatched away?" Jess's tall figure appeared behind me. The unpleasant words continued to come through the receiver. Jess hung up the phone with a cold expression. 3 seconds later, the ring-tone rang again. This time, he simply turned off the phone. "Are you just standing there listening to her scold you?" Jess's expression was unfriendly. "Aren't you angry? Always remain calm in front of the boss." I took the opportunity to demonstrate my professionalism. As a result, he shot me a glance of disdain. What does it mean? Why is he angry on my behalf? Jess shoved the glass of red wine into my hand and wobbled over to sit on the sofa. "You don't have to hold back when it's time to be angry. I'm in a good mood today and don't want to see my assistant being bullied. We could try to get your ex-boyfriend fired. Do you want to see if they'll go into a frenzy?" In my state of confusion, Jess began to scroll through her contacts. "Your ex-boyfriend's company is called Yuncheng Technology, right? He seems to be the HR manager." As soon as I saw that Jess was serious, I quickly interrupted. "Let's not. She's already pregnant." Jess let out a grunt through her nose. "You're actually quite nice. Considering they made you so happy, why not take the opportunity to get back at them? Whether you believe it or not, your ex-boyfriend lost his job, and that girl named Olivia immediately broke up with him. I should believe it, but I just feel it's pointless." I downed the red wine in my glass in one gulp. I just don't want to have anything to do with them anymore. Jess walked over and took the empty wine glass from my hand. "The best way is to look ahead." I'm looking ahead. Really, right now, I'm fully focused on my career. Not enough yet. Jess, wearing only a bathrobe, suddenly leaned closer to me. The citrus scent of the shower gel completely enveloped me. His peach blossom eyes, sharp and bright like a male fox, were fixed intently on me. My damp hair was still glistening with moisture, and through the deep V neckline of my bathrobe, my firm, undulating chest muscles were faintly visible. It was too close. My gaze lingered on his rolling Adam's apple. The look in his eyes was filled with invitation. He is flirting with me. It's not my illusion. This is already obvious. I blushed, my heart raced, my legs felt weak. If I continued to meet his gaze, it seemed the only way out would be to kiss him. "Mr. Jess," I stumbled back 3 steps. The assistant's self-cultivation came into play at the last moment. I would never have any improper relationship with the boss. I am a serious assistant. Good night. After returning to my room, I couldn't sleep all night, tossing and turning. My heart was in turmoil. Compared to my boyfriend of 7 years cheating on me, the fact that my boss of 4 years has fallen in love with me is even harder to accept. Without love, I might cry at most, but without work, I would starve to death. I quite like my job, otherwise I wouldn't have continued doing it since graduating from university, and I've been at it for a full 4 years. My boss is understanding and reasonable, and I can learn a lot of skills from the job. Without boasting, I can say that now I can make many small decisions for Jess, which shows the strength of an assistant. But now the boss is openly showing interest in me. Isn't this a complete game changer? Talk about it sooner or later. You have to resign. If you don't talk about it, you have to resign right now. Moreover, I am still living in the boss's house. The more I think about it, the more annoyed I become. My mind is filled with thoughts of wet hair brushing against me. Jess. So later, in a hazy dream, it's all indescribable. The next day in the car, 2 people with dark circles under their eyes. It seems neither of us slept well last night. My boss spoke first. I think I was too anxious last night. You can consider it as if nothing happened. I replied repeatedly, okay. Now it has become his displeasure. Did you not hear anything I said in the car before? What are you saying? To be a mistress for love? So my boss wants to be my lover for love. My face turned bright red. Jess was finally satisfied. It's not too late to know now. I know, but why do you prefer that I curse you behind your back, or do you like that I'm good at slacking off? After much deliberation, curiosity got the better of me, and I asked him, what do you like about me? He answered without a second thought, does liking someone need a reason? Is it not needed? Let me think about it. Thus, the car fell into an eerie silence once again. Do you need to think for so long? Kindness, beauty, diligence, dedication, and even politeness. The long silence really made me feel embarrassed. Just as I was about to change the subject, Jess finally came up with something. Perhaps it's cute. My pupils were shocked. I'm almost 30. What is there to be cute about? He seemed to fall into a memory. When you secretly replace the hand, brewed coffee with 2 packets of instant coffee to be lazy, I found it adorable. You secretly curse me behind my back and draw ugly little figures on sticky notes, but I still find it very cute. After that, I began to look forward to going to work. Only during work hours could I see you. No matter what you do, what you say, whether you're happy or angry, in my eyes, it all becomes very adorable. It must have been at that moment that I felt I was done for. I watched as Jess's face turned red all the way to the base of his neck, and the knuckles gripping the steering wheel began to turn white. I finally realized it. He was confessing to me. Seriously, Lily, I really like you. It's been almost 3 years if you count from the beginning to the end. My mind was blank, as if it had been bombed. After my boss took the wrong lane twice, ran a red light, and missed 2 intersections, I told him to stop talking. If he kept going, his driver's license would be revoked. Also, driving with one hand would result in points being deducted. I pulled my hand out from between our interlocked fingers. Jess was in a great mood, driving me back to the villa, smiling as if it was all worthless. Lily, I have also put myself in your shoes. So starting today, you are no longer my assistant. Jess wanted to ensure that this relationship didn't start off like a workplace sexual harassment case. I was about to be transferred to the group subsidiary to become the HR manager. I still haven't used my vacation days left, so I've been feeling incredibly bored these past few days. The climbing roses in the village yard have covered the walls, and I am standing on a ladder trimming the branches. I watched as Parker's car stopped at the villa's entrance, but he looked around nervously, not daring to press the doorbell. When Parker opened the door and saw me, surprise flashed in his eyes. Lily, I brought you something. I gestured for him to just leave it in the yard. After a few boxes were moved, I noticed he was still hesitating to leave. Is there anything else? Lily, are you living here now? He cautiously probed. Are you really with that Mr. Jess? I retorted. Does this matter concern you? They're kind of rich people. They are not from the same world as us. It's possible they are just playing around. Don't be fooled by them. I scoffed. Aren't you just playing with me? 7 years have passed, and you're still being deceived the same way. Parker hurriedly retorted, I really thought about marrying you. What happened with Olivia was an accident. She got pregnant. Stop it. I don't want to hear the details. It's really disgusting. Lily, let me give you a piece of advice, she said. I don't want to hear it anymore. Jess walked out of the room, leaning against the doorframe with a look of disdain. It's really disgusting. He came over to fix the plumbing in the kitchen, and now there's a wet patch on his shirt. I don't even know if he finished the repair. Lily, why aren't you wearing your ring? Jess walked towards me, pulling a pigeon, egg-sized diamond ring out of her pocket. Under Parker's gaze, it slipped onto my ring finger. I'll fix the roses later. Don't let them fall. He affectionately ruffled my hair. Heaven and earth, Jess and I are still in the stage of holding hands. I had never seen this ring before today. Parker was both incredulous and angry. He should have thought that I couldn't possibly let go of 7 years of feeling so quickly. It's a pity that a deteriorated relationship is like spoiled food. The only place for it is the trash can. How much time does it take to open and throw it away? Parker's voice trembled a bit. You guys, Lily, you wouldn't have had anything with him already, would you? Jess put her arm around my shoulder. You can thank your lack of insight for that. And from now on, don't call me Lily. He mimicked my tone and said again, it's really disgusting. Parker walked away with a face full of indignation, while Jess was in an exceptionally good mood. I stared blankly at the heavy finger. When did you buy this? Such a large pigeon egg. Surely it's not made of glass, right? What is this? I've already thought about the kindergarten our child will attend. He smiled with a look of pride. Don't talk nonsense. Really, you've been in a relationship for 7 years. I waited for you to break up, adhering to the code of the Janhu. And now here I am, waiting with bated breath, but I haven't thought everything through. I never knew there was someone like this behind me, silently waiting for me. There's a sense of unreality, like losing a sesame seed and picking up a watermelon. Jess is the kind of person who has both wealth and beauty. If he weren't truly present around me, I would feel like I'm living in a scam. I walked over and poked his damp shirt. Is the pipe fixed? Jess shook her head and grabbed my hand. The pipe is very stubborn. I burst out laughing and planned to go take a look myself, but he pulled me into his arms. The water pipe can wait. Why don't you fix me up first? He drew closer to me, his beautiful brows and eyes gently closing. I was kissed so hard that I almost couldn't stand, and he slowly let go. Take a breath. Jess brushed my nose and pulled me back into his arms. So, it turns out I really was lacking oxygen that day. His shirt was wet and then dry. We embraced for a long time, kissing. The water pipe continues to drip, 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 and we still have a long, long time to love. When Jess handed me the lawyer's power of attorney to sign, I realized that Olivia's mother had also come to my company. Oh, it should be the former company. Now it was probably because I had tasted the sweetness of breaking up after my daughter had come to stir things up before. So I obediently withdrew this time. Her mother came over to argue, saying that my ex-girlfriend was occupying her house. That's right, it's the one that Parker and I bought together. It's just that this time I wasn't there and only Jess was left to watch the show. Crying, shouting, cursing, after a complete cycle of chaos, Jess called security to drag away the exhausted aunt. Then the company's legal team began to work, handling defamation and property divisions simultaneously. I just needed to sign. I originally thought that Jess would definitely look down on my 89 square meter tiny apartment, especially since I only occupy half of it. Who knows the infinite power of a man when he becomes jealous? I looked at the numbers on the lawsuit document, precise to 2 decimal places, and felt the anger of the capitalists. The result was naturally a victory in the lawsuit. Defamation required an apology and compensation, and the division of the house was even simpler, 1/2 for each person. Parker was unemployed and couldn't come up with half the price of the house, so Jess said that the property would be foreclosed. Unemployed, I fed a piece of watermelon into Jess's mouth. He chewed and chewed. That Miss Olivia is causing a stir. I fed another piece and continued gossiping. What happened? He continued to chew. Olivia has resigned to stay home and take care of her pregnancy, and a new intern has joined Mr. Parker's team, following the usual teacher-apprentice training process. Olivia was paranoid and ended up causing a scene at his company, getting into a fight with the new intern. Is it really that amazing? I listened dumbfounded. He pulled me over, sat me on his lap, and stuffed a piece of watermelon into my mouth. Well, it would be impolite to listen any longer. Let's not pry too much into the matters of my ex-boyfriend. I met Parker again. He was sitting across from me, his resume on my desk. I didn't expect that he, a senior software development engineer, would return to square one and apply for a programmer position alongside a group of freshly graduated college students. It was probably because the overall environment was really bleak. I didn't need to lead the interview questions. I just propped my head up and looked at his resume. The 1-inch photo used above was taken when I went with him. Nowadays, time has passed, and he no longer seems as spirited as he once was. As expected, the HR department filtered out his resume. Freshly graduated university students with low salaries and good physical strength are favored by capitalists for being cheap and useful. Programmers like Parker, who are nearing 30, are already considered outdated equipment. What surprised me even more was that he had been waiting for me downstairs at the company. Lily, can we talk? I really don't know what else there is for us to talk about. It can't be that he wants me to help him with a back-door deal, right? I declined his suggestion to sit in a cafe, and we stood by the flower bed at the bottom of the company building to talk. He stammered for a long time, and in summary, there were just two things. Olivia's pregnancy is fake, and now they have broken up. I smiled at him and said, "Doesn't this seem to have nothing to do with me?" He had a look of deep sorrow on his face, as if he were the one who had suffered the most. Lily, I was deceived too. Do you understand? I was tricked by her. I've already regretted it. I've regretted it for a long time. If it weren't for her deception, I wouldn't have broken up with you. 7 years, Lily. Are 7 years just gone like that? It was all my fault. Can we start over? I will make it up to you. I will love you twice as much as before. Late, coming affection, forget it. I don't want to insult the grass either. I took a step back. He was too excited, and I was afraid his saliva would splatter on me. Parker, Olivia's pregnancy is a lie, but you really did sleep with her, didn't you? Be a qualified ex, and don't show up in front of me again. Leave yourself some dignity. Parker grabbed my hand, tears in his eyes. Our house, have you forgotten? The floors, the furniture, the appliances. Every single thing we chose together. You used to say this little home was our child. It hasn't been auctioned off yet. Shall we go back and get it? I shook off Parker twice, but couldn't get rid of him. Just as I was about to curse, Jess appeared behind me. He twisted Parker's arm and pulled him aside. Not auctioned yet? Jess raised her hand to check the time. The efficiency isn't high. I'll go urge them tomorrow. Parker was finally exasperated. Lily, are you still with him? Can someone like him truly care for you? Ask him, will he marry you? People like him, they just play around. Mind your own business. My anger was ignited. If anyone's going to play, it's going to be me playing him. Both faces now looked at me in disbelief. Jess squinted and asked me, answer him, will you marry me? Parker. What? Jess waved her hand, and 3 or 4 security guards came over, dragging the still crazed Parker away. Then all the way he kept repeating this one question until I was so annoyed that I finally agreed. The progress of my relationship with Jess was moving at lightning speed. By the time I realized it, our wedding was just around the corner. Lying in bed, he held me close, idly playing with my fingers. I stared at the ornate ceiling of the bedroom, lost in thought. It felt as if he had planned everything from the moment I was cheated on. First, move into this villa, then take advantage of the situation to enter. Even the act of putting the engagement ring on my finger was pushed by my ex-boyfriend. I feel as if I've fallen into your trap. Jess was still seriously playing with my fingers. Where's the set? TSK, speaking seriously, why do I feel like in the blink of an eye I'm getting married? Did we skip over a lot of other scenes in between? Queen, he kissed me on the cheek and said, how much longer do you want me to wait? This is already slow. As he was about to lean over me again, I pushed against his chest. Wait a moment, let me sort this out. My hand was moved away by him gripping my wrist. Both of my hands were pinned down by him. A lifetime is so long. You can take your time to sort it out. Now we should do something more interesting.